Hi, hola, konnichiwa, bonjour, hello. This is Heather. I am Red Ibis Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already and you've watched more than one of my videos. You must find something out of what I'm saying. And I would love to have you as part of the community, which I am trying to grow, not only because it helps people see that I have a coaching business and they can become a client of mine if that's something that they want, but also because these topics that I talk about are things that I think that are important. And if I think they're important, other people are going to find them important too. A lot of times the people who come to me, the clients who are interested in working with me, they come from different backgrounds, and the thing that stands out to them is the well-being thing. So, because I talk about positive psychology, and positive psychology has tools and resources to help support well being, it makes sense that people want to come to me for that. And then they understand that that kind of underpins the work that they're doing in terms of trying to reach their goals. So, you can't really get the energy to overcome your burnout, for example, and reach the kinds of goals that you have in your career if the burnout just persists. So, my work is a little bit therapeutic, but it is not therapy. However, there is something to be said for what the meaning is when you are pursuing greater well-being and how that can support your overall goals, your health, your life, your future, your present, all of those sorts of things. So today we're talking about the PERMA model again because we haven't gotten through all the letters. We've gotten through P, positive emotions, E, engagement, and R, relationships. Today we're talking about M, which stands for meaning. And we are doing it through the lens of social media because, well, first of all, you're on YouTube, which could technically be considered social media. And two, because meaning is something that some people feel is not in their lives. They feel a lack of it, and others naturally pursue it. So, whether you're someone who feels like there's not enough meaning in your life or someone who naturally pursues it, you may find something useful in this video. Because, first of all, if you use social media to pursue things that are meaningful to you, then I want to validate you and say that that is a great idea and keep doing it. If you use social media and don't realize that you are trying to pursue meaning, then it's good to bring that awareness into your conscious awareness. Because when you pursue meaning from intention, from like a place of really knowing what you're looking for, that's going to be a more meaningful way of doing it. There are so many ways that you can pursue meaning on social media, from something as seemingly trivial as a meme to something more profound like looking into spirituality. Why are memes meaningful? Because they are an image, a visual currency that is something you're relating to. You find it funny, you find it relatable because there's some kernel of truth in the meme. And there are so many different memes, there are so many viral videos. Most of the time, there's some meaning being extracted from that. Um, Even viral videos that have a negative connotation, there's still some sort of meaning that people are taking away from that. Whether or not it's true is different than the fact that there's meaning being taken from something. So, another thing that's really important when you are looking into what is meaningful to you, what kind of meaning you are getting from your social media use, it's important to think about that and to take that into consideration, to be more literate, more critical, using a critical thinking lens, even though it doesn't feel very fun to use a critical thinking lens, it actually just makes everything more digestible for you. You take what feels right for you and you leave the rest. That's one. And two, when you are using a critical thinking lens for how you're observing any kind of media, any kind of information coming in, you are then able to think about what you want to do with that information and whether or not you believe it is true. Because if you don't think it's actually true, it might not be anything worth your time. And of course, there's something to be said for taking in stuff that people say that doesn't resonate with you and sitting with it and seeing how other people derive meaning from it. But more of what you're doing should be how you're interpreting it and how you're seeking meaning out of things. An example for me, and of course you're different, you are going to have a completely different algorithm, a completely different For You page, a completely different timeline, depending on what social media platform you use. And full disclosure, I used to have Instagram, I used to have Facebook, I used to have Twitter. I don't have any of those anymore. The only accounts I have are LinkedIn and YouTube. There is a new social media platform that was just launched that doesn't allow any AI content. And I've been curious about that one, but I have decided that social media and me need to have a limited relationship. So even though I'm spending time making content for YouTube, it's in the pursuit of meaning, believe it or not, because I'm talking about things that I feel are important and things that are related to my work and my areas of interest. So this is how I am interacting with meaning. But anyway, depending on what platform you use, you're going to have a completely different experience of it than me because it's catered to whatever it is that you're interested in. But if you just look at what you're interested in, you're starting to gather information about what is meaningful to you. So, for example, my algorithm shows me a lot of stuff about women. So, women who don't have relationships, women who don't have children, women who are moving through the world very independently and who um, seek meaning in ways that are not the traditional concept of meaning. So a lot of people pressure women to have children by a certain age, and that's how they derive meaning from life. That's not me. Another thing that is on my particular algorithm is so much content about people living abroad. Couples living abroad, single people living abroad, people much older than me living abroad, people who retired abroad. All of that stuff is super interesting to me. And it literally, to me, is the pursuit of meaning when I see that. So, those are some examples of the types of content that I consume. And I will say that there are a few comedians that I also follow. And comedy is also a super relatable medium where people are getting kernels of truth and meaning out of what's funny to them. So if you think about and critically analyze the humor that you like, why do you like it? What's the meaning that you're getting out of it? That sort of thing can be interesting and help you decide what content feels more meaningful to you. So the goal of using social media to pursue meaning is not to have everything be serious. It's not to have everything have a super um, thoughtful or philosophical lens. It's just to notice what's meaningful to you and to pursue more of that. So you may have very specific things that are meaningful to you, and might be really clear about that. But then a lot of people use social media in a way that's a little more compulsive, and they're not stopping to think about the meaning that they're getting from it, but also the meaning that is being presented to them. There are a lot of different lenses or perspectives through which people see the world, but not all of them will be right for you. And if you feel a lot of like anger or frustration, or the negative emotions are coming up when you're using social media, that means there's something about the meaning that's being displayed to you and being presented to you that's not actually in alignment with how you find meaning and what you find meaningful. So feel free to comment on what is meaningful to you, what kinds of social media you engage with, and why it's meaningful to you. These are super interesting things to think about. And one other thing I will say is that there is a certain percentage, and seems to be growing because of AI, unfortunately, but for other reasons that some of which are nefarious. There's a certain percentage of internet content that has no meaning. It's just kind of like shallow, vapid, materialistic, objectifying, transactional, and just not really serving anyone. And sure, we can talk about what those things are. I do find that people find that conversation to sound judgmental no matter what, but it's coming from my lens of how I see meaning. So that's always something to keep in mind. If that's something you would like me to talk about, the part of the internet that I think we would all be better off leaving behind, I'd be happy to talk about that. And maybe I will in a future video. But I do know that people get upset because they find it judgmental, even though the judgment is coming from, is it meaningful or not? Yes or no? And there is a difference between judgment and discernment. Judgment is, I think, more personal. Discernment can also be more personal, but discernment is like, does this serve me or not? Is this useful to me or not? And just leaving what isn't. Um, but anyway, yeah. Maybe I'll make another video about that. Feel free to ask for it if you're interested. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what's meaningful to you and how you find meaning on social media, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.